Welcome back to another episode of Boys Love. Boys Love. This presents Not I.
Moi.
Not moi. This week we have watched episode 3, so we'll be recapping that. And we're having a great time. Should we get into it? This show is very built up.
This is the
From our folks on our Patreon.
Yes, very passionate people about the show.
Our bows, our bobs, our berets.
Yeah.
And just like in general, I think this is often regarded as like one of the better, on the better end of the spectrum for Thai BL.
Because they're doing something.
But they're also
doing
doing something interesting. If I was to be like, oh, I really recommend Roommates of Pungdak 304, I completely forget that like roommate or that friend storyline exists.
Oh, yes, like extortion.
Like fully forget that is a part of the plot.
Yeah.
Because like that doesn't do anything for me. It doesn't do anything for the plot. So sometimes I'm not saying anything.
Not saying there's nothing where
we are experiencing this week to week.
Yes.
And it is a slow burn show.
Yeah, it's a slow burn.
It's like we're gonna eke out a little information.
Yes.
Here it comes.
And people have said, I don't know if the weekly works for this show specifically, but
it came out week to week.
It came out week to week. So
anyway, we're very excited to watch it. I'm having a good time.
Yeah. It's interesting.
It is
and
interesting.
It's really cool to see Off Gun do their thing.
Absolutely.
If anything, I'm just like, I love watching them act.
We love first.
Like they are acting.
You've gotten into Gawin.
Oh yeah.
Nice haircut, by the way.
Thank you.
Mm-hmm.
Nice Elphaba hoodie.
Elphaba hoodie. My 8-bit Elphaba. This week we've watched episode 3. So episode 3 starts. We are now, I don't know if you've noticed, but we have now started and ended not episode 1, but every episode, we have ended every episode so far and begun every subsequent episode after one with a motorcycle ride.
Oh. But this episode doesn't end in a motorcycle, but you're just saying it just picks up from the previous.
You're right, it doesn't.
It doesn't.
Cut that.
I won't. Up until this point, they have done what was the last action of the last episode.
Yes, it picks up directly.
Picks up directly, yeah.
Which I think that's going to happen next week.
Yeah.
Because it seems like
we're going into training.
It doesn't matter. Hi, welcome back to another episode of Boys Love presents Not Me. This is episode 3. Okay. They go to the garage, which is where they had been headed. White, who's playing black. And Sean.
Who is Sean.
And they get to the thing. White flicks him on the head. Cute. Okay.
Yes. White's kind of like playing back now.
So whatever they do at the garage, he gets into his car. He gets into his car.
Yeah.
And then he like changes out of his black outfit into his white outfit. Character names, not colors. And then goes back home to not Daddy Dan, his daddy,
father,
his actual papa. And as we know, he's trying to become a diplomat because his father is also in what we've learned is essentially the equivalent of like the State Department of the United States. I think in Thailand, it's like probably the Ministry of the State is my guess. Something along those lines. And he has to pass exams. He has to do interviews for these jobs. Okay. So his dad is like, hey, they're having dinner. And he's like, hey, I wanted to tell you, you're so smart. You're so
smart.
brilliant.
You've done all of this international training, but you are in Thailand.
And it's about
seniority.
It's about seniority. It's about being respectful to your elders, very specifically. So, you want to keep that in mind when you're talking to people.
Telegraphing.
Because the point of diplomacy is
Go ahead.
She knows.
She knows.
She had to look it up. The point of diplomacy is that you not mediate conflict necessarily. It's not always you're mediating conflict, but you're just smoothing the edges of everything. You are finding the most okay response in all situations that everyone will accept and be like, okay, I can take that.
Yes.
That's diplomacy.
Yeah.
And that I would say is a skill.
Yeah, totally.
Yeah. That's, called being married.
That's just marriage, baby.
Baby. And so here in Thailand, we just want to be careful. We want to be cautious. We want to be cognizant. Okay. All the adjective darlings.
Darlings.
About what we're saying and who we're saying it to.
Yeah.
It's a little warning.
It's
a little
interesting.
Warning.
It's interesting that it's talking about seniority and like respecting elders when it feels like it's code for. It feels like don't bring your liberal, like don't bring your
woke college ideas.
College ideas like everyone is equal.
Yeah, none of that shit.
Even though no, it's not everyone is equal because later the argument is like everyone has a fair shot. Everyone is equal, so we treat everyone equally and like. White is like it's not equal. People have privileges that are so it's like don't shake it up.
Yeah, I mean okay, so a diplomat's job is not to change policy.
Yeah,
it is to simply, I mean, technically, that's what they're supposed to do.
Yeah.
So if that's the job he wants to get into, he is explaining this is how you get into this job. You don't get into it to be like, I'm going to change the system. That's not what diplomacy does. Diplomacy doesn't change systems. It is just to like, let's all take a breath. Let's all breathe.
Yeah.
It's all going to be fine. Okay? That's what that is. So it's interesting because they have to set this up for later in the episode when
he does the interview.
He does this wrong.
Yeah.
Cut to Sean, who is hanging out with his friend Namo.
Yes.
Who's the girl that we met in the previous episode who also does graffiti art. Mm-hmm. She does like murals. Currently, it seems like she's hired at a restaurant to like
do a mural
for the wall or whatever. So
this is how I found out that they use a projector to trace a mural. I just always assumed
I can't believe you didn't know this.
I just assumed they just draw, like people will just draw it. It's a big paper.
We did this in high school on like sets.
Oh, you would project it. Oh, interesting.
Mm-hmm. Sean's like, listen, I don't know, something's going on. Black is
not who.
Black
not
is
the same.
gray. Okay, let's just say that he's changing. Okay. And she's like, well, why don't you talk to him? The thing I think every person who has ever watched any show, when just talk, when your suggestion as the audience member is just talk to them, she finally voiced our concerns. She said, why don't you say something? And he goes, well, Black's not the type of person who would have a conversation about it. But sir, you just said
that he's not the same anymore.
So maybe try it out. Yeah. Try something new.
He also asked her, like, would you go back to like doing graffiti again? Like basically like doing crime again.
Yeah.
And she's like, no, no, that's done. I'm done with that.
Yeah.
Which is interesting that now it feels like Sean is having a like crisis of moral law. And I think he's probably equating that to like maybe Black is not as,
but also on the level of things that are crimes, setting someone's house on fire
and graffiti
are two, I would say, in different realms.
Yeah.
To be honest, Yok comes in and he's like,
hey Diva, do you know
who UNAR?
UNAR?
UNAR.
Do you know UNAR?
UNAR Thurman.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
UNAR Thurman.
UNAR Thurman.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. And she says, well, everybody knows him, but nobody knows him because he's anonymous. He's Banksy.
Yeah.
Okay, that's the point. He does these murals in secret. He posts them, and then all of a sudden he disappears. Nobody knows who the fuck he is.
Yeah.
Someone said they figured it out. They think it's a fake profile. It's like attached to a dead person a dead foreigner from years ago. Blah blah blah. That felt specific. I think we found out Gawain is like Thai American.
Oh yes, the actor is. Yes.
I wondered if that was like, oh no, it is actually like
it's him or something. Yeah.
Something.
But he is known for his like political paintings.
Yes, he is. And
It's funny because the paint, I think it's obviously that's a specific art style that they're doing, but they just have like smiley faces.
No, that's
It's
what I really like
unnerving.
about it. Yes,
right?
I love that.
It's like
I actually think I think his art style is so cool and like really fit. First of all, it really gives me, it's not the same art style at all. I want to be clear. I know what I'm saying, but it gives me the energy of the murals in the Denver airport. Something's
it's supposed
wrong.
to be, it's peace. It's like peace. It's like world peace.
Something's wrong.
But it's like, what are you depicting, Diva?
Yeah. I like the one he does in this one. I kind of didn't understand the last one.
I think it's just like, they're like, people are jumping because like it's like, and the forest is fully like cut off.
Yeah.
But once again, the house was on fire, so it was hard to see.
It was a little hard to make out.
This one's a little more clear that like the people who built the country that are like poor and destitute are holding the trampoline for like the rich people to be jumping.
Yes.
Woo.
I like that it looks...
Are you a trampoline?
No. Famously, I don't know if you girlies know this, but most home insurance companies will not insure your house if you have a trampoline. And also, do you know the state that has the most trampolines?
Utah.
Is Utah.
They can't drink caffeine. So they just gotta...
They can't even drink caffeine.
Yeah. Swig.
Pilk. Pepsi and milk. Yawk goes over to Sean and is like, hey.
But literally, Nama was painting right there. It's like, I need to talk to you.
Hey. Do you remember
that crime we did?
Do you remember that time 2 days ago where we set Tawie's house?
We
went to a forest.
Remember that?
Do you remember that? And then there was the guy there, and he was like,
there was a good guy.
I saved him. I don't know if I pulled this guy out of a fire. It was kind of like a huge heroic thing that I did.
Do you remember?
Were you there? Do you remember that? Anyway,
it's him.
That's
it's
him, girl.
This girl.
So Yawk's idea is like, well, first of all,
he was like, I think he should join our cause or
First of all, Yawk, just say you think he's hot.
Yes, he's like, I really think we need someone like him who will
we need a PR person.
Yeah, I think we just, like, he could do the graphics.
Yeah.
The flyers.
Marketing.
You know, I think he would be a really great asset to the team.
Ad.
Yeah, great ad.
When really it's just because you think he's hot.
You think he's hot.
And you know what? You're right.
Yeah.
You're right,
All you've
Diva.
seen is his face, and you want to ride it.
You're out of
what
your
else?
mind.
That's all he knows about this man.
He could want to kiss it.
Mm-mm.
We go home with him.
Yes, we go home with Yawk.
We meet his mom.
Yes, we were gagged.
So Yawk's mom is mute. And
they speak. They use sign language.
They use sign language.
Yes,
I'm assuming Thai sign language because every language has its own sign language.
Good.
And she's mute, and she recently got fired from her house,
like a housekeeping job. Yeah.
And she got because like the owner was like,
I
wanted a housekeeper that she could like chat with.
Yeah, I was like, what is this, the help? Like, Minnie don't burn chicken? She was like,
it's Jessica Chastain's character in The Help.
Which, okay, now it's making me think this is, now I'm like hyper conscious of everything is a little tidbit to like, for the theme of the show, right? That it's like, it's a hired help, it's domestic work, but because she can't speak, because the rich woman is seeking like companionship, basically hiring to be like, and so it's like a class thing, right? Where it's like
it's very Parasite.
Yeah. And Yawk is like, well, then stay here. I'll work.
He says he's gonna go work. They should like submit like an
literally
inquiry,
the BBB.
into the Better Business Bureau or whatever the
Let's
fuck
report
is
her.
the equivalent.
Yeah.
And she's like, no, I'm just gonna find a job at a place that like allows me to work and it's fine.
And then it's so specific. This is the job that she says.
Oh, it was like it was
like a manufacturing company.
Oh, was it a manufacturing?
Yeah.
I just remember it was like, I know someone who hires people with disabilities.
Yeah. That I was like, oh.
Okay, but here's what I really like about this scene. Because I think it could be, first of all, I'm curious if this actress is
deaf or
deaf, hard of hearing, mute in the community, actually. But I liked I like that he is like, I'm just going to work for you. It's fine. You can just sit at home and do nothing. It's fine. And she's like, no. I can work.
Yes,
I
yeah.
would like to work.
I'm able. Like, I can do it.
I can deal. And this is what she says.
Yeah.
She's like, I can deal with the rest of the world pretending that I'm lesser than because of my disability. You cannot. I will not.
You cannot do that.
The same to me.
Yeah, I know.
I loved it. I loved this scene.
This is my favorite scene in that. I mean,
for sure. It's like the show is so high stakes. The show is so like, we're tearing down the man, and like these micro moments of like,
yes, who it's actually for or who it's actually
fighting
affecting.
for.
Yeah.
I liked that stuff. I like that.
That's why I think they're probably not going to reveal it right away, but it's nice that we're seeing Yok's perspective first and who he's fighting for. Yeah. Because I really want to know.
Isn't it crazy Graham's not in this episode?
I didn't even think about it.
Yeah.
Mon was booked.
Mon was
like, I can't make it to today's shoot.
I have a fan meeting, sorry.
Fan meet, sorry.
That whole week we're shooting. Then we go to White, who is waiting for his interview at...
I actually really like this scene, too.
Diplomacy Station.
Yeah.
Which is what I'm going to call the
ministry.
The ministry of
They call it the ministry.
The ministry. The ministry. The Ministry of Magic. So he sits next to Chatty Cathy again.
Chatty Cathy.
From episode 2.
Still no name.
Chatty Cathy, I gotta be honest, is wearing a polka dot shirt, which is... I just want to say, if you're going to go into an interview for a job in the U.S. State Department,
let's
basically,
say, yeah.
I don't know if polka dot shirt is the way to go. It's a little too chipper. I think.
Yeah.
I think it is his character.
Yes,
Chatty Cathy.
Right.
But I think it's a lot to take into an interview. It's a big introduction.
Yeah.
I do think you would leave the room and they go,
polka
get a load of that shirt.
Yeah.
Huh? Yeah.
So no on polka dots, right, guys?
Yeah. Polka dots it's a bold choice.
Yeah. Because in their mind, they're like, what if he shows up with that shirt to like a very tense negotiation with a foreign country?
Sure. Mm-hmm. It's a bit chipper. It's a little
too out of the box.
Yeah. Okay, that's my note.
Yeah.
That's not it. I did like that detail though, but I thought it was very funny.
Yeah.
Okay.
Because I don't know if we're gonna see this diva again.
No, it seems like this is the end.
Yeah.
It's a good setup and then payoff. Actually,
I know. Yeah, the payoff's really good. But he's chatting it up, girl. She's like blah 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 blah.
This is also something I would say too. Is like if you're gonna go into diplomacy, I would listen more than you talk.
Yeah, I think that's kind of the main skill of the job.
So I would
listening, assessing what you just heard, and then carefully formulating.
Also, if he's fully aware of like, it's people who have contact, people who know people are the ones who like get jobs really easily, but just like knows that happens often, knows that there's the possibility, I guess,
that someone could be,
that the person he's talking to could be something.
The people you're going to work for
he
are
just
all
risks
that.
It.
Yeah.
He's like, it's not this
oh my
guy,
God.
though.
Yeah, he's like, oh my God, like everyone here that like has gotten a really good education from privilege, or if they like, they're the rich, they're the ones that get all these opportunities and they all get the jobs.
Anyway, what was your name?
Anyway, so like, what's your name? And he says his name.
And he's like, my name's Baron Trump.
Literally. He's like, wait, that name's familiar. Like, as in
the ambassador?
The ambassador?
And he's like, oh yeah, that's my dad. And he's like, oh.
Chatty Cathy turns a corner, honey. She goes, oh.
And this is the first time. This episode is very interesting because the whole episode is just White realizing his own privilege.
I know. It's kind of crazy.
Now, here's what I want to say about the show. There are some things there are things about the show that I am not going to be able to take myself out of. Mm-hmm. Meaning, I am watching the show in 2025.
Yeah.
I am watching the show as a 32-year-old. I think by the time it's over, I will be 33. I don't remember when the show ends. Yeah. I think maybe I'm still 32. I think that this is for those who are maybe experiencing that for the first time, are at that age where it's like, oh, I'm having big realizations about the world, my place in the world, blah 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 blah.
How I
do
got
I
here.
exist in a society
That's
as
not
a
fair.
good human?
Yeah.
Yeah.
How to still be a good citizen even though knowing that the world is unfair.
And we mean like global citizen.
Yes.
Like a good person on this earth.
Yeah.
That I think is like, I can't escape the fact that I have already gone through this part of my life
Right.
where I've like done all the, and like, this is not like him having these realizations. And I think Gunn plays this so well.
Oh, totally.
He has a moment later in this episode that like floored me how good it
Yeah.
was.
But knowing that, like, if GMMTV, like, the stuff that you see kind of runs the gamut. There's fluff and then there's like high fantasy. So it is impressive to be able to do something like this where it
totally
talks about like political
totally
and like, yeah, political global responsibility.
Well, and also I
crazy.
want to be clear too. The other thing I want to say is like, just because I have like already, I don't think I need this from this show, or I don't need this show to tell me that, because like whatever.
Yeah.
I'm not saying like I'm a good person. I'm just saying like, this has already been a part of my life that I've like struggled with.
Yes.
I lived through the first Trump administration,
right.
like an adult.
Yep.
I think
we lived
like,
through Bush, like we lived through
hello.
like we lived through just every single time we have blamed a group of people for anything.
Yes. I think that like this might not hit me thematically as much as like the performances are hitting me.
Totally.
Or the performances are hitting me in general.
I totally agree.
I think like,
because I know the show is like it's a thematic show. It's about the things that they are exploring. What is that called in theater where it's like, it's a play that is more about the like theme or the lesson? A morality play, basically.
Play.
I had to just connect the words.
Yeah.
It feels like that, where it's like a morality show.
Yeah. It's not mired in specifics of like character development.
Right.
Although there obviously is going to be character development in the show. It's a television show made
but
in
it services more of like in order to drive points as opposed to like the character study of black and white.
Yes.
I think there's going to be elements of that where we're going to see like how they came to be, but like it's because of these bigger themes that have caused them to be that way, which is what the show wants you to look at.
So the other thing I was going to say though is but just because I have like whatever.
Yeah.
I don't think we should stop making shows like
yes,
this.
Totally.
Everyone is going to get to a point in their life where they're going to need
this show. Yeah.
These types of shows have always existed.
Yeah.
And I'm obsessed with the fact that there's a BL of
yes,
this show.
Exactly. And
like,
they stuck in a gay romance in too.
I mean, like that. Essentially, that's what fucking Victor Hugo wrote as Les Mis in like 1860 whatever. Like we tell these stories because it's important to explain to other people like there exists a world outside of you.
Yes. Yeah.
So I want to be clear, if you're like watching along with us and it seems like they're not having the shocked the galaxy brain reactions that I would expect them to have.
Yeah.
It's probably my guess is it's because
we've seen this in other things.
I've already been galaxy brained.
Yes. By
this type of content.
Yeah, totally.
What I am like really fascinated by is how they're going to do it, how well they're going to do
effective,
it.
Yeah,
and how good the performances are.
Totally. Yeah.
So I just want to like set
if it seems like we're
set
more
expectations.
Yes, if it seems like we're way more objective about it when we watch it, it's because I think the themes are hitting and I'm getting it, but like
I mean it would be very hard to not get
yes.
They're not subtle.
Yeah. But also I don't need them to. No,
I think a lot of people do not deserve them to be subtle.
I think a lot of people need to be told, hey.
There are points I think Gunn needs to look at the camera and be like, you should not be a shithole.
Yeah, literally.
Maybe.
But I'm also just a person who, as a storyteller.
Oh God.
Those are the gags that get me the most when it's like, ooh, the story is hitting, that the theme isn't hitting you over the head with it, like and mixed with like really good performance, which there has been really good performances. Yeah. No one is doing too much or too little. Everyone is doing exactly what I think they need to be doing.
But and also like, I mean, without getting absolutely the most annoying theater people in the world about this.
I know.
But like there are different entire schools of thought of what good storytelling should do.
Yeah.
And like if you had asked Bertolt Brecht in the 40s of like what is the
How would you do
purpose of
this?
theater?
Yeah.
His idea would not have been, oh, make people forget that they're in an audience so then they can like experience it. He was like his whole, without doing the most history of theater in the world, his whole idea was like, oh, people need to be aware that they are like in the theater so that they can reflect in the story on themselves and question their own.
They're putting themselves in
whatever.
Yeah.
And so like so if this is like
this is what they're trying to do.
I think I would subscribe to something more of a subtler touch.
Yeah.
But I don't think that's the only answer.
Yeah.
I just want to make that point.
Yeah,
Like I think like maybe that's why I'm not like, it seems like I'm not super connecting with this, but I don't think that's a comment on the show.
Yeah.
I think it's just like not all me. I'm not saying it's not for me. It's not me.
It's not me. It's the name of the show.
It's not them.
Yeah.
It's all of it. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
I just want to like.
I know. But like that's.
I feel like I'm getting defensive now.
You are.
Sorry.
I think there are people who
I just know this is what it
feel
really is.
connected
Yes.
to this story.
That's totally what it is.
And by us not having the same reaction like you are on these episodes, that does not discredit or discourage or make your opinions and connections to the story
still walk
wrong.
away from the show and be like, this is an S tier show.
Yeah, we
You know
might.
what I mean?
Yeah,
Like,
exactly.
I still might finish the show and be like, this is great.
Yeah.
That's all I'm gonna say.
As the BLs get more complicated or trying different things, I think as people who recap, that's part of our shtick is to like really look at it and see how effective it is and tell some dirty jokes.
I just know that here's what I'm gonna say. This is my final thing.
Okay.
I know it sucks when you show your friend a thing and your friend does not like the thing.
like it. Yes.
I'm not saying that's what's happening.
Yeah.
But I know that sometimes it might feel that way.
Right.
Like if we were to watch a music video that people recommended or whatever, and then we were like, oh, I didn't like that at all. There is a level of like, I have associated myself with this so much that it feels like almost maybe they don't like me.
They don't like me or like what
or
I
my
like.
taste.
Yeah.
And it's not that.
No.
So I just want to like
I know.
That's all. Okay.
I know.
But I understand. I understand that impulse.
Yeah. So anyway, he goes
to trim that down, clean that up.
He goes into this interview.
He goes into the interview, and it's Miss Girl
speaking
from
of privilege. It is the same guy that he had dinner with.
Yeah.
Which I guess when they showed that dinner scene first, I thought it was like known that like, oh, this is the person that you're going to be working with. I didn't realize that like, oh, it's going to be an interview actually, which may be like before White's eyes were opened. Maybe that's just how it felt like, right? Like it's like, oh, this is just a formality. Yes, technically I'm being interviewed to see if I get this job.
I mean, I'll be completely honest. I did not connect the pieces of like what the show was doing in that first episode at all.
Yes, because like the first episode was just so you are in the dark.
Yeah. And I don't think I realized like
that was a schmooze.
Yeah.
That was a schmooze dinner.
But it is interesting. I was almost as fascinated that I was so surprised that this guy was from that dinner.
Yeah.
As White was.
Yeah.
Because I felt like when and I would have to go back and watch the episode again to like see, but I felt like when it was like, oh, we're just gonna go out with some
people that
I work with.
Which
is probably how he just said it.
Yeah.
But I think if you picked up on like what was going on, you were probably like, oh, I bet this
probably
means
is
something.
Yeah.
But I just was really like, okay, these are
they
just came back to Thailand. Oh no, but he's been back in Thailand. It was that White had just come back to Thailand. His dad
but I didn't pick that up in that first episode. I think
no, I don't.
I picked it up here, obviously, because it's like, oh, it's the guy.
Yeah, and they flash back to it.
And
guy, first of all, why didn't the guy say, "Hey, are you okay? I know you went to the hospital immediately after that dinner." Hey, I wanted to check in.
It looks like you had an epileptic shock or something. Are you okay?
Did you get stung by a bee and you're allergic? Like, was there
something in the food?
Are you well?
Yeah. Did I need to talk to the restaurant and make sure? Like, was there something you were allergic? No. There has been no follow-up that he fully looked like he was like choking.
Yeah.
It was that's very funny.
That was very funny.
The show is thematic, Adam.
Yeah, no, I got it. Anyway, so the the interviewer's there, and he's like, "Hey, there's no introduction." He's fully
Yeah, he's like-
"So have a seat." So here's a question. Here's an interview question. And RJ, feel free to
Yes,
tell me how you'd
absolutely.
respond.
Contestant number 32, Miss Philippines. Your question is,
Oh, is this the...
yeah.
What's more important? What is it? Like education or
Like intelligence or beauty?
intelligence or beauty?
I feel that sometimes people think that the correct answer is intelligence, but for me, I will choose neither because I already possess both.
Okay. Now here's the real interview question that gets asked. The UNESCO World Heritage Site.
Which I need to look up. Do we have one?
Does the United States have a heritage site?
No, Chicago.
Oh, Chicago specifically? Oh, that I don't know. Probably.
UNESCO Heritage Chicago.
Isn't the temple...
Home to 2, the Roby House in Hyde Park and the Unity Temple in Oak Park.
Oh, the Unity Temple.
You thought it was a Baha'i.
I thought it was Baha'i.
Yeah. Because they're both...
The Unity Temple is the one that's designed by...
Because they're both
Frank Lloyd Wright. So the a little bit architecture.
A little bit of
knowledge.
architecture.
So the UNESCO World Heritage Site is considering doing one in Thailand, but may not do it because of accusations of human rights mistreatment.
Yeah,
in the
human
country.
rights violations.
Human rights violations in the country. How do you respond?
How do you respond? And so the translation was like, how do
What
you
do you say to them?
What do you say to them? To what do you say to people? To who? I would follow up like to who? To
Well, I don't think you
Thailand?
should. I don't think on the first question you should be like, "Sorry, can you clarify?"
Can you clarify your question?
I'm not sure of who I'm speaking to in a diplomacy job interview. You know it's not going to be good if you've been keeping up with watching every
the show. If you've
segment
been
of
watching the show, Tamar.
Yok is boxing with Gumpa.
Yeah. Yog's body tea is so fascinating.
Why is
because
first shirtless?
he is he's skinny. There's no waist, but like got like pecs and like got arms. But from what people have been saying on Discord, it's like he's got a dumpy. So like I need the body profile photos. Do you know what I mean? I need like the scan. Just to like see, because I'm curious. I think like as an anthropologist, I need to.
Looking for a new co-host in case anybody wants to submit a resume, and we'll do a little interview, and I'll ask you
If the UNESCO Heritage
UNESCO Heritage Site is considering doing. It swaps out, and White ends up boxing Sean,
Yes.
and Sean knocks him the fuck out.
Yeah.
with
Well,
an
first
uppercut.
he like messes with him as like payback for
The flick.
White flicking him,
Yeah.
and then he is just getting beat.
I mean, I do think he does a pretty good job of like
Holding his
defending
own,
himself
yes,
at
yeah.
first.
Diva really is doing a great job because he looks terrified, right? And I do wish there was a little bit more reaction from everyone. Like, why does he look like he's like so scared?
Yeah, there's a real amount of unasked questions that is like the crux of my like frustration with this aspect of the show.
The suspense of disbelief is so high for their suspicions on him, because everything that
Gumbo literally later is like, I have to retrain you.
I don't know
And how is there not a question of like, what happened to you?
What happened to you?
What's
It's like you're a
going on?
completely different person. It's as if you swapped bodies with your twin.
There is a level that like I think it could be explained if we saw how cold Black was. So that's why like no one asks him questions.
No one asks him
because,
questions.
Like, he would
They're
never
scared of
answer
him.
them anyway, or something like that.
Yeah,
because then I would be like, oh, okay, that's like, well, at least I know why they're not asking questions.
Even
There's
if
just
there
a lot
was-
that I have to just fill in.
I wish there was one scene, because the first time we see Black, he's getting beat the fuck up. So it's
I
like,
know.
is he always wrong? Is he like in the wrong? You know what I mean? Like, I don't know. Because he starts off as like a victim of this crime.
So White gets knocked out by Sean. I'm gonna say this. I don't know if this is the show to do
PPL.
product placement. As much as I love
Yeah.
Thai product placement on
Discord,
BLs,
yeah, Discord calls it the anime soda boy.
and the toothpaste,
Anime boy soda.
Anime boy soda and the toothpaste both happen in
Yeah,
this,
like
in
the
show.
WD-40 toothpaste. that
Yes.
they're showing.
I just don't know if a show that's like fight the system. I don't know if that's the show to be like,
yeah.
LOL, anyway, sell this product.
Yeah.
That's the only thing.
From what I was reading,
thematic
what people were saying on the Discord, like the PPL is kind of like, it came with the gig with Off Gun because they were
already they were diplomats of the product.
They were diplomats of Anime Soda, Anime Boy Soda.
Yeah. He gets knocked out. They sell the soda, and then this is when Gumpa's like doing, I don't know, shooting range practice on this like mannequin.
That freaked him out.
And I didn't like the mannequin. And then White walks up and it's like, oh, it's so loud. Ah! Which is exactly how I would react, by the way. I 100% am White. And this is when Gumpa's like, I have to retrain you. You have to stay here
to live here. I have to watch you and train you.
Because you've forgotten everything.
But the training is like, it's not for... it's not so that you can beat people up. It's to defend yourself, because what we're doing is going to
I'm not training you to use this on people. I'm training you to use this to defend yourself.
Yeah. Which didn't work out, honey. Because Black is in the damn hospital. So
yeah, your training failed.
So I think we gotta reassess the learning and development.
Yeah.
The onboarding process. The curriculum. Yeah.
He goes home, back to dad. Back to father.
And he's mad.
Because...
Which is weird, because it's weird. He mad that he answered the question wrong, but then will reveal that he still got the job.
Yes, but even he admits... Okay, so he got the question wrong,
right?
Because we flash back to what the answer... Or the question again, I don't think we hear him answer it. But he says his answer was...
we need to fix the human rights violations.
I would admit that there were human rights violations, and we would have to fix those, and then we could work toward getting UNESCO Heritage Site or whatever.
Care of, yeah.
And he's like, "How you can't admit that there are problems, because what you should say is our justice system is in accordance with other justice systems on the globe, and so we are the same as everyone else," which is a diplomatic answer. It's also a very cop-out answer.
Yeah.
And so this is when the argument starts of White being like, but it's not the same. And people are persecuted in this country.
And he's like, yes, I do. That's the right answer. What you said is right, but we can't say that.
Yes. That's not what our job is.
Yeah.
I do think there's a level of like, maybe just don't go into this line of work.
But he didn't know he didn't know his own privileges until today,
He didn't
Diva.
know. It's true. He had no idea.
He had no idea.
The dad does say that he is moving on in the interview process.
Oh, okay. So he's going through regionals.
Yeah, he got through regionals. He's going to state.
Yeah.
But can I just say this too, by the way? I think multiple interviews are out of control. When I interviewed for the last front desk job that I had 4 rounds of interviews. Do you know how stupid that is for a front desk job?
To file papers and write emails.
Of which I was paid minimum wage.
Yeah.
They have this fight, and then White leaves because he's like, we have problems in this country and you don't want to admit it. It goes so far as to him being like, I only am allowed to continue on in this interview process because you're my dad. Anyone else would have been turned away. And he's like, no, it's not, whatever. It's not because of me. It's not because of your contacts. He's like, I'm cheating the system by using you. So this is when he goes back to the garage. He comes in so he can let off some steam. He uses the punching bag.
Yes.
And this, I think, is like the best acting of all 3 episodes so far.
He gets very emotional because he's thinking about, like, I'm realizing that everything that I've had is because of a privilege that...
And I want to be clear, I don't mind the voiceover. I think the voiceover is used effectively on the show.
Totally.
But I think he does so well in this moment that they didn't need the voiceover.
I know. It was like, what he's doing is I can see what
I
he's
think this is like goes back to like the subtlety.
Yeah.
Like I would just let it play out, and then the audience can be like, "Oh yeah,
He's going
if
through
that's
it.
what it is."
Yeah.
But I think to drive the point home for viewers,
Yes.
I think that's why they have the voiceover be like, "I had never realized about my worldview until this very moment."
Yeah.
There's a post on Instagram. Yok sees that Nabu, what's
Yuck.
his name? Unar.
Yeah. Unar. Nobu. Nobu
Fubu.
posted that, they're open for reservations, and so he jumped right on it. He had that notification on for Unar. Honey.
He posted his new mural.
It is at Taui's like sports complex.
Yeah. And this is the one that we were talking about earlier where it's like the people are holding up the trampoline for those in power. And they're having a good time. He rides his motorcycle over, he sees it, he turns around and then sees Mr. Unar
hidden in the shadows. I wouldn't even risk it, Diva. I wouldn't risk even just staying. I would say go home and then post.
Oh, you're saying to Unar?
To Unar.
Oh, yeah. I definitely wouldn't post there. So he chases him down. He catches up to him at one point, but Unar holds a gun to his head and is like, don't fucking chase me.
Don't fucking chase me.
Gawain is so hot.
I know.
He's so hot.
I know.
He's so fucking fine.
So fine.
His face.
He looks like handsome fucking Squidward.
Oh my God.
I know.
And then
he's
first
so
is
fine.
hot.
And
Oh my
they're both
God.
so fine.
Oh my God. So he holds a gun to his head, says, don't follow me if you want no more, if you don't want to.
Regrets.
White realizes that he has to sleep with Sean. That's the only room that's available.
In the garage. It's okay. So they are playful. There is a tone shift when it's them in some of the scenes in this one.
It is, yes. So
they're
from
teasing, they're
episode
bickering.
1 to episode 3, they have definitely softened toward each other. It is not as cold as episode 1.
They're teasing each other. They're being playful now. Like, Sean is kind of like very much like, try me, bitch.
Yep, that's what he says.
Yeah.
It's a really wild line from this character.
Yeah.
Try me, cunt.
They do a little tug of war with the towel, and the sound of the towel was like,
did you see what Char
crazy.
said today?
No. What?
That in some shots, he was naked for that?
Off? No. Gun? His little Twinkiana? Just out
What's
there?
wrong with you? What the hell is wrong with you? They do this near kiss. They do a very classic BL near kiss. Fun. And then they go back to the bedroom to do nothing.
To do nothing.
To
They
be
just
clear,
share
that's not. And then they get hot and heavy. No, they
No.
just go to sleep. There's still an animosity between
Yes.
them.
Okay, Diva. White goes out of his dumbass way to be like, I didn't know you read.
Yeah. Yeah.
Girl, you have to pretend that you are this person. Like, you know this person.
Yeah.
Oh, you're reading.
He's
I didn't
not.
know.
His commitment to like physically boxing is commendable.
Yeah.
I will say that instead of just running away. But we just think. This is. I don't think diplomacy's for you, girl. I gotta be honest.
I don't think it's for
I
you.
don't think this is the career move.
Maybe like, do you like
As your guide, as your mentor.
Yeah.
I don't think.
maybe you're a better like researcher. You know.
Maybe you're a better revolutionary.
Maybe.
We'll find out.
But I will
think
say-
in the show.
I just need sometimes I just need from the other characters to be like, that's weird that
Yeah.
you said that.
I
What
do-
do you mean you don't know I read?
know.
Huh? But then again, if it's clear that like Black never got into other people's personal lives.
Yeah. The other thing I think is very interesting about the scene is that Sean reminds Black in the way that no one would in a real conversation, but he's like, you grew up in privilege. So we're still supposed to know that Black also it's not like
not a
the
secret where he's
dad
from.
was,
Yeah.
because I think he says his mom was a
Yeah,
judge.
I didn't grow up like having a judge for my mom.
Yeah.
And White was like, don't bring up my fucking dead mom, you fucking monster.
Yeah. But I think what, do we know that she's dead?
Yes, please.
Okay.
Yeah.
But I think what's interesting is like I had assumed,
from how his dad.
because I said in the last episode, in the episode 2 recap, that they have like a class difference between the two of them.
Yes.
But I don't know if that's totally
Maybe
true.
it's not. Maybe he's like a poor little rich boy.
Yeah.
Maybe they grew up well off and he was just like really like depressed or like isolated.
He did not
or
grow
whatever.
up hard scrabble.
Yeah.
But I guess I thought like, oh, when they got divorced, like the dad had the money or whatever. But no, it seems like that maybe that's not true.
But I mean, like those are all from White's perspective of like what his dad told him. So
yeah, that's true. That's true. No love lost there. So then they go to bed. At some point, White wakes up and has a brilliant idea to search through Sean's things. White's whole goal on the show, because White, to be clear, doesn't care about bringing Tawi down. That's true. That's not his prerogative on the show. That was Black's, but that's not White's. White's whole thing is to find out who did this to Black. And I thought in the last episode, it was like, oh, I don't think they did this to him. I guess it's not clear. If you got all this voiceover you're using, why not just use it to be like, I wonder if like...
Yeah, a little bit of like, I still don't trust him or whatever.
Yeah, just something. Because like, I feel like it was clear last episode that he like thought they didn't do it. So then I was like, why are you looking at his stuff
That's
again?
my thing. There's these small things that I feel like aren't consistent, but it's only episode 3, so.
So then Sean catches him, and
him.
he's like, I'm going to have to hold you to go to sleep. That's the episode.
Honestly, okay, this is my, I don't want to beat a dead horse, but going back to our conversation about, our reaction to the show so far, I think we are, with thematic shows like this, with what they're trying to do, I think definitely now, after talking about it, I had a better appreciation for this episode. So so I think like I just by nature, the more we talk about it and analyze it, the more we
I'm actually thrilled that this is not just a show we react to and don't talk
on Patreon.
about.
Yeah, totally.
Because I think this is a show that deserves to be like
talked about,
investigated.
Analyzed. Yes. Yeah.
Aha.
Yeah. Because I came out watching the episode last night feeling like, ooh, I don't know. It just felt the pacing is weird.
There's an undercurrent of constant tension on the show that does start to feel like exhausting.
Yeah.
That I am curious, like, I don't know if I'd be able to binge this show.
Yeah.
Like, it would be like, whew. But I think it's good that they're holding this tension because, like, I think it works for what the show is trying to make you feel as an audience member.
Yeah.
Like, I think there's things that I wouldn't make if I was making a BL, but I don't think I'd make this type of show anyway.
Yeah.
But I think I can, like, see what they're doing and I can appreciate it.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's all.
Who's your MVP this episode?
The mom.
I know. Yolk's mom. Yeah. I don't know. I gave it to Yolk last week, so I'll give it to White this week. His crisis of realizing his own privileges. I mean, it really did gag me. I may not have looked like it during the reaction, but like, just because I see it every day.
But I think like
people realizing like, oh.
But I think too the like when I watched that scene with the punching bag, there was a part of me that was like, oh, I wish he had broken down. But then
he broke down enough.
Yes. Like, I think it's, like, good that he didn't, I think it's good he didn't end up wallowing in self-pity about, like, oh my God, my life is so hard because I didn't realize I had all this
Because that's the point. It's like, you didn't.
Like, I think it's smart to just hold it back enough for him to be like, I'm frustrated with the circumstances, with myself, with, like, the whole, like, all society. Like, I'm frustrated. This is how everything is set up. But, like, it's not and now I'm defeated.
Yeah.
It's like, and now I'm like maybe gonna turn a corner and start to like
Yes.
use this against them.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I'm enjoying talking about it
Mhm.
after every episode.
Yeah,
So.
I am too.
So I think we should keep going.
I guess.
We should keep watching.
Join us on patreon.com/boysloveboyslove.
To watch those tepid reactions that we've been doing on the show.
boysloveboyslove.com patreon.com/boysloveboyslove. You can join the Bow level where we are watching along with our recaps the episodes of Not Me. We're having a great time.
We're having a great time.
And we're also watching Kingdom Legendary War, if you're interested in that. And we're also
finishing My School President.
If you join the Bow level in like a week, you're basically gonna get.
You're getting all of My School President.
Yeah.
So see ya.
Discovering voices, building worlds. The Ampliverse.